Today we're having conversations with agents of change. I think the common thread that ties them all together is their passion, their compassion, their conviction, and their belief in themselves and what they are doing. Undoubtedly, we have with us a gentleman who has been an agent of change here in our desert area. Will you please welcome Mayor of Palm Springs, Ron Oden. Hey, Ronnie. Hey, baby. How are you? Sit down and join us. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And you look great.
You're I'm so flattered. I can't stand it. Thank you. Hey, you know what? In reading your bio, I don't think a lot of people realize that you hold 3 degrees in, you have a degree in sociology, theology, and history, and then master's degree in theology.
Yes.
And also, there's a couple more.
I have a master's in ethnic studies, and I completed all of my graduate work in marriage, family, and child counseling, but I decided it really wasn't something I really wanted to do,
right.
To practice, but I use the skills all the time.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. Was your calling really into theology?
No question about it. As a matter of fact, I think my approach to politics is is pretty much the same. People often ask me, well, how did you make that transition from being a pastor to politics? But when you really think about it, you work 24/7 in both. They're both thankless jobs. No matter how many things that you do that are right, if you make one mistake, that's what people remember. And you live in a fishbowl.
Right, exactly.
They're pretty much the same.
I know. But you've done a wonderful, wonderful job for Palm Springs. You really broke through, if there would be a glass ceiling, in the sense of being the first openly gay African-American mayor in a city. What do you think the greatest change that you've made in the city, the best effect that you've had for the people of Palm Springs? Is there any one thing that you really feel in your heart?
I think it was an unintended effect as far as I'm concerned. Shortly after I was elected, I went to an event, and a woman came over to me, and she gave me a hug.
Yeah.
And it's what I would call a familiar hug.
Right.
She hugged me like she knew me, and I didn't know her. And she grabbed me by the hand. She says, "Come here, let me show you something." And she carries me across the room, and she points. She said, "You see that tall, good-looking young man over there?" And I said, "Yes." Yeah. She said, "That's my son." She was white, and he was obviously a mixed kid. Right. And she said, "And my son is gay, but he doesn't know it yet." She said, "And one day, my son is going to face some issues, and he'll wonder whether or not he can accomplish all of his goals that he has set. And I'll be able to say to him, 'You can do it,' because Ron Oden did
That's
it."
right.
And of course, I mean, you know, first of all, how astute she was as a mother, you know, and she's preparing herself to be able to address whatever issues that may arise with her son, which I think is just truly exceptional. And, you know, it was certainly something that I never thought about, because for me, I was elected, you know, I've been elected in the city for 8 years, and I decided to run for, you know, for the office of mayor because there were certain things that I believed that needed to be addressed in the city. It had nothing to do with sexual orientation. It had nothing to do with lots of things other than I just believed that there were certain things that needed to happen in the city.
And sexual orientation should have nothing to do with it anyway. It has nothing to do with the job that's being performed.
It's true.
Now, you are going to be stepping into a whole other career, are you not? Very soon? You're going to be soon going into something else?
Well, yes, but it's not so different, really, not for me.
In the speaking world, in the speaking world.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, I have been talking with Bruce Marin. Right. And he is the owner and founder of Celebrity Speakers.
In Las Vegas?
Yes.
I have a speakers bureau. You'll do fantastic. And you were, didn't you, wasn't in your heart of hearts, didn't you want to be an actor at one time?
Yes.
Well, that's part of everything. Would you like to maybe do a poem for us? I've seen you perform. Wouldn't you love to hear Ron recite a poem or do a couple-minute presentation? Would you please?
Okay, let me see. All right.
Okay. Stage fright he has, right?
'Twas battered and scarred, and the auctioneer thought it scarcely worth his while to spend so much time on this old violin. but he held it up with a smile. "What am I bid, good folks?" he cried. "Who'll start the bidding for me? $1, $1, now two, only two? $2, and who'll make it three? $3 once, $3 twice, and it's going, but no." In the room far back, a gray-haired man, he came and picked up the bow. And wiping the dust from that old violin and tightening up its strings, he played a melody pure and sweet as the angels sing. The crowd was hushed, and the auctioneer, with a voice that was quiet and low, said, "What am I bid for this old violin?" as he held it up with the bow. 1,000, 1,000, a two, 2,000, and who'll make it three? 3,000 once, 3,000 twice, and it's gone. The people shouted, and some of them cheered, but we do not quite understand what changed its worth. You see, many a man out of tune with life and battered and scarred with sin are auctioned cheap by a thoughtless crowd, much like that old violin. A mess of pot is a glass of wine. He's going, but no. For then the master passes by. And the thoughtless crowd can never quite understand the miracle that's done or the change that's wrought by the touch of the master's hand.
The touch. Now see the touch, and that's why you are an agent of change. You changed a young man's life, you're changing lives all the time, and undoubtedly, Ron Oden, you're going to go on and continue to change the lives of hundreds and thousands of others. Thank you so very much for being on the show today. God bless you.
And you too.
Thank you, love.
And thank you.
When we come back, we'll be talking to some other agents of change. Stay tuned.